It's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to the Cinematic Wasteland here on the SPM Crew Podcasting Network. And this is our monthly show where my buddies Adam, Luke, and I take you back through the history of cinema, where three guys' passion for movies takes you through the history of cinema for sure. And we're all much, much better this month. If you listened to last month's episode when we were a bunch of sickies, and I hope you enjoyed it. But at least I know my brain is back to full capacity because it was
Much better
not
now. Yeah.
during that recording. But Adam and Luke, thank you both so much for always coming on and talking movies with me.
Always a
Yeah,
blast, Shane.
of course, man. Howdy, boys.
And
Glad to be
we
here.
have reached the 1930s. So this is our third decade. So we
Woo.
started in the teens and then got to the 20s, and now we're in the 30s.
Wow.
And we will be having some film history. We will talk about some box office, talk about those Oscars, and then our film, The Blue Angel. So let me get my reader voice on. It's time to go through our film history here. So this is just a broad stroke 1930s note. The most popular film genres of film at the time were musicals, gangster movies, newspaper movies, westerns, comedies, melodramas, and horror films. And that just tells me that's most genres.
I was gonna say, so
So
nothing's
I
changed
don't
really.
know
Yeah.
what this was trying to say.
Add rom-coms, and you're pretty much modern in Hollywood.
Well, I guess they
If you
didn't have
replace,
no sci-fi, no fantasy.
yeah, but if you replace
Um,
rom-coms with westerns, it's yeah.
well,
Mhm.
I feel like the musicals make sense because now they have sound and they're like,
Mhm. Yeah.
oh my God,
Yeah,
hog wild.
definitely.
We're gonna have a whole bunch of films with music in it. So
Mhm.
yeah. So I don't know why that was a note. That wasn't very informative. I apologize. Um, Warner Brothers inaugurated the crime gangster film with director uh that's a really weird way to spell Mervyn Leroy's Little Caesar, starring Edward G. Robinson J. As a small-time hood, the first talkie gangster film. It has often been called the grandfather of modern crime film, the prototype of future gangster films, and is one of the most well-known and best of early classic gangster films. Edward G. Robinson created a quintessential portrayal of an underground character, ruthless gangster Caesar Enrico Rico Bandello. You see?
Mhm.
Is where the gangster film started, you see?
Mhm. And we will get a lot of them in an upcoming decade or two.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense because it was, I don't know, I'm not 100% sure when Prohibition ended, but it makes sense that the gangster films would come out during or after,
This
straight after.
was this was
Right about.
still this was
Mm.
getting up close to when Prohibition ended.
I want to say
Yeah,
it
yeah.
ended like 32, 33, something like that. But so
But
Okay.
this would be like a height of Al Capone, all that
Yeah.
stuff,
mhm.
and Chicago and all that. Boardwalk Empire, amazing TV
Mm.
show about this stuff.
Yes,
Yep.
That's a
absolutely.
great one.
Steve
Side
Buscemi, friend of the
recommendations.
show.
Mm, there you go. What, Adam?
Steve Buscemi, friend of the show.
Friend of the show. We'd love to have Steve Buscemi come on and talk about a movie
Oh
with
yeah,
us.
oh
Be
yeah.
insane.
Contact us. Um, there you
Where's
go.
his agents?
This is another broad note of the 30s and 40s. This was the era which has been predominantly referred to as the golden age of Hollywood by film critics and historians, and considered the apex of film industry. Some extended that time period into the 50s. I thought that usually they included the 50s in
I
that.
was gonna
Um,
say.
Mm.
the golden age came to a close with the breakup of the studios and declining attendance from challenges brought by shopping centers and television. Shopping centers and television.
Wow.
Because I never heard
But
30s being referred to as golden age. I always thought it's like 40s, 50s,
me
especially
Yeah.
too.
50s.
Well, I feel like the
Mm.
end of the 30s because, Gone with the
Gone,
Wind and The
yeah,
Wizard of
Yeah.
Oz and like
yeah.
stuff like
Bringing up
that.
baby. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like 1930. I
No.
feel like we're still at least a few years out.
At
But
least
it
five
was
or
it
six.
was a
Yeah.
range. It was not
Yes.
a exact start date for 1930. So
Hmm.
Hmm.
I guess this website has for like the first year of a decade is just like here's some broad strokes. Well, thank you. Um, uh, Public pressure, mainly from the Catholic Church, a Catholic church, applied further censorship guidelines and clearly outlined what was acceptable and unacceptable in films within the industry. Premarital sex, wow, premarital sex, alcoholism, immoral and criminal activity, among other subjects, led to the establishment and the adoption of the Motion Picture Production Code. As the head of the MPPDA, William Hayes established the new code of decency known in short as the Production Code or Hayes Code. Well,
Mm.
With all due respect, they also basically banned marital sex as well because
Yep.
married people weren't even allowed to be shown in this that they slept in the same bed. It was always separate beds as well. So
Yes.
oh my
especially
God,
premaritals.
how scandalous the Brady Bunch was.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It's like
well,
they
yeah,
got in the same bed.
yeah.
My
How
grandparents
dare
had
they?
different beds, which was because like I grew up with my grandparents.
Right.
And I lived with them for like 19 years of my life, and they had separate beds.
Probably because of the Hays Code. They thought that's what they had to do.
This was a this was a requirement.
Yeah.
We've seen it in the movies our entire life, so it must be true.
But here's the thing: my mom had 5 siblings, so we know stuff
Mm.
Hmm.
happened. There's
Yeah.
bed jumping,
Imagine if they were in
going
the
on.
same bed, they might have had 10.
Yep.
There you go. You never know.
Mm.
Um, long before China had their own ways of limiting their population,
Hmm.
American society started sleeping separate beds. Add that extra effort to try to have to go into one of the other beds. This is the kind of commentary that you get on the cinematic wasteland that you get nowhere else talking about movies.
Yeah.
But
Educated and always topical, yes.
which yes, which also thinking about this, good thing the Blue Angel was
Mm.
German and wasn't really out at this point because there's some shit in this movie that definitely would
Yeah.
not have flown with the Hays Code.
Nope.
So
No.
the Marx Brothers starred in Animal Crackers. It was the second of many classic Marx Brothers films. The first film was The Coconuts, also from Paramount Studios. It was also the last of their films to be taken from one of their stage successes and last to be filmed on the East Coast on Astoria sound stages before they moved on out to Hollywood. So, are either of you big Marx Brothers fans?
I've
I've
only
I've
seen the
seen
one.
coconuts.
I've only seen Duck Soup, the big,
Mm.
their most famous one, but probably I would imagine. So, but I think we discussed this last episode. I would love to watch more, and I need to watch more because I know
Yeah.
how impactful they are. Like one of my favorite TV shows, Gilmore Girls. They reference Marx Brothers all the time, and I'm like,
Right.
I need to. And see, for me, it's always like Karl Marx, like the communist guy. And I'm like, Marx
Yeah.
Brothers? What?
So I'm a big Marx Brothers fan, and I
Mhm.
actually read the Groucho letters recently,
Mm.
which is a collection of letters that he wrote to people and then other people wrote to him.
Mhm.
And it was absolutely hilarious and so worth it. He's also the kind of family member that would give you shit all the time and would be so unserious about everything. He wrote his grandson a letter when he was at camp, being like, well, I hope things are going well at camp. I was like, I hope things are going well at camp. I would know if you wrote me a letter about it. I'm just like, wow, grandpa.
He sounds like me.
Which one of his friends wrote him a letter and just like, Groucho, I hope all is well. This is my letter in response to the letter you never wrote me asking me how I'm doing.
Mhm.
It's like, wow, level of friendship here.
It's
But
always
like,
good to be a bit cheeky. Hey, like I
well,
respect that.
and you know what? One of my favorite lines that he just delivers perfectly is in Duck Soup, where the one's like, "Was there with him until he died." Oh, so it was murder then. Um, it's like, that's like that specific generation of humor that like Rodney Dangerfield would also
Mm.
make joke.
Yeah.
Marx Brothers are funny.
Hmm.
Something very brave and courageous that I just said here, and you should go check out their movies.
That's a hot
Um,
take, yeah.
Hot take.
That
right
reminds me of
here.
that meme. Look, what is Eric Andre show? How would you say something so controversial yet so brave?
Brave. Yep. I just did. I'm very proud of it. Greta Garbo starred in her first talkie, MGM's Anna Christie, advertised with the tagline "Garbo Talks." The Best Actress nominated actress seemed a little redundant in the way that was written. In the role of the title character, spoke her first line of dialogue with "Give me a whiskey, ginger ale on the side, and don't be stingy, baby." And the film, the second screen version of Eugene O'Neill's 1922 play about the Minnesota raised Swedish girl and ex prostitute, was produced by Irving Thalberg and directed and produced by Clarence Brown. So, would we have gotten Anna Christie in 1931 after the Hays Code? Ex prostitute?
Probably not.
Unlikely. Too close to Mary Magdalene for their liking, so probably not.
Except Swedish and from Minnesota. So it would be a fun game to play. Ban this movie, and it's like, does this pass the Hays Code? Anything French would fail desperately. Just throwing that out there. Unknown Berlin, Germany stage review actress Marlene Dietrich starred in her first Joseph von Sternberg film, The Blue Angel, which we will talk about momentarily, playing the role of cabaret singer Lola Lola and performing her signature song, Falling in Love Again, Can't Help It. Her performance is the first major German sound film led to a contract with Paramount in the United States. She became von Sternberg's ingenue and ultimately starred in 6 more of his productions, including Morocco, Dishonored, Shanghai Express, Blonde Venus, The Scarlet Empress, and The Devil is a Woman.
And also, didn't she become kind of his mistress as well? Because, like, from what I've read,
for those who could not see, because this is an audio podcast, I just flicked my eyebrows up coyly, Luke, because yes, maybe.
No, because like from what I've read about IMDb trivia about this movie, apparently they started their affair, and it was at the time massive scandal, and the director's wife, month later of the premiere of the movie, divorced him publicly because of this affair. So, oh well.
Well, then I'm assuming then yes, this is
yeah,
it started.
Times really haven't changed, have they?
No.
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 95 years later, still the same shit goes on.
Humans doing human shit. They're just rich and famous, so then we hear all about it.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
For more, ask the CEO of the astronomer company.
The Coldplay CEO,
yeah. The amount of memes that the internet has created since then. And I think one of my favorites is Chubbs trying to show happy all in the hips to a Coldplay song. I'm just like, yes. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent choice here.
There's the Australian, there's the women's rugby league here in Australia. I saw something today that they scored a try, which is a touchdown for lack of a better phrase. But they celebrated by copying that. Like one of them hugged them from behind, and it was funny as hell.
The Phillies had their first game back from the All-Star break last night and had a kiss cam, and they had the Fanatic holding another female Fanatic, and then they all like freaked out when they got on the camera.
Imagine.
Awesome. One thing you can give Philly credit for is they're gonna give everybody shit.
And
I could just imagine what Gritty would have done, because the Fanatic is certainly mischievous, but like Gritty is a whole other level of demented Muppet. So like, too bad the Flyers aren't in season, because they would have done something crazy too. Unless he did on TikTok, because Gritty apparently has a fantastic TikTok.
I'll take your word for that.
That's a sentence that would have made sense like 10 years ago. Gritty has a fantastic TikTok.
What's a gritty and what's a TikTok?
Exactly. I still remember
Yeah.
when he was announced and people absolutely hated it.
Oh yeah.
And
The
now,
funniest thing is that everybody in Philly hated him.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
everybody else started talking shit. And then Philly's like, don't you dare make fun of our
Yeah.
demented puppet. And because it's the most Philly thing to do. And
He
now,
is hideous, but he's ours, okay?
Mhm.
which similar to It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Gritty
Yes.
catches Philly vibes very well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Just putting that out there. I can confirm. All Quiet in the Western Front was the first major anti-war film of the sound era, faithfully based upon the timeless best-selling 1929 novel by Eric Maria Remarque, if that's correct. Although it won the Academy Award for Best Picture, it was criticized as being propagandistic and anti-materialistic. Wow, how dare it?
Mm.
For its perceived anti-German message, it was denounced by the Nazi government in Berlin in the 30s and subsequently banned there.
Mm.
Wow, it was banned by the Nazis. They must have been doing something right.
How dare this
Yeah,
anti-war movie
exactly.
be anti-war? Like, honestly, what the fuck? How dare they? By the
Uh,
way, the book, I've actually read the book in like high school because we had to, but
mhm.
it's an amazing book. Like a genuinely great book if you haven't read. Like, genuinely great.
Mhm.
Oh, add it to the list. Um, the first feature-length prison film was released, MGM's The Big House, starring Wallace Berry in a breakthrough role following the death of Lon Chaney Sr., who was scheduled to be the main lead in the film. That's actually really sad to think about that Lon Chaney died like by the end of the 1920s.
Mm.
Yeah.
And after all the stuff that he did in the 20s in terms of his iconic roles. But see, now we got
Mm.
prison films. So I guess this was a time where it's just like, here's some big shakeups in terms of the kind of films that we're getting. And it's so funny because it's like, it's the first sound this. It's the
Mm-hmm.
first sound this. Welcome
Yep.
to 1930. Ex Disney employee Ube Erworks and Erwick Studios' first animated film, Fiddlesticks, featuring a cartoon character of Flip the Frog in the first screen appearance before a series from 1930 to 1933, was the first complete sound cartoon to be shot in two-strip Technicolor.
Nice.
Two strip
I
Technicolor.
I've never heard of Fiddlesticks. I have to check if that's on my obscenely large
I think I
watch
heard of
list.
it. I'm
Huh.
like, why have I heard of it? I think that's the reason because it's the first one ever. Yeah, like a animated end sound. I
There
think,
you
but I
go.
don't think I've seen it.
In other animation news, the
Mhm.
animated Disney character of Pluto was introduced in the Mickey Mouse cartoon The Chain Gang.
Ooh.
So another uh iconic animated character got his debut.
The
So are you telling
chain
me
gang.
Pluto?
I want to see Mickey on a chain gang. That's seems racist. It just feels racist already.
Why is this black mouse on the Chain Gang?
So are you telling me Pluto is a 95?
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. He
That
looks
was
very good for
Pluto's Action
95.
Comics #1. Yeah.
Well, on Disney Plus, they have tons of old
Mm.
Yeah.
Pluto
I
short
love
films and
Pluto.
stuff like that.
He's always my
Some of the
favorite.
most fun ones are him versus Chippendale
Mm.
Mm.
because
Oh,
you know dog versus chipmunks
Mhm.
yeah. The
shenanigans.
the Donald Duck and Chippendale ones are great too.
Donald just angry about everything.
Yeah.
Two ex Disney animators, Hugh Herman and Rudolph Ising, began to make the first cartoons for Warner Bros. They drew the 5-minute pilot film named Bosco the Talk Ink Kid, the first synchronized talking animated short cartoon as opposed to a cartoon with a soundtrack, with a little black boy character named Bosco who actually spoke dialogue. The Bosco pilot film was the impetus for the birth of Warner Brothers Looney Tunes. The black and white sinking in the bathtub with Bosco was in the starring role was the earliest talking Looney Tune originally released April of 1930. I don't know if I want to look up what Bosco
No,
looks
this feels like a
like.
can of worms, man. This feels like a massive can of worms.
This
Why?
feels like a trap in 19 in
Yeah.
2025.
You know what's
Well,
you know I'm smiling
Bosco's a
because
chocolate too, right? So,
see, for me, Bosco is one of the most famous drag queens because like
ah,
I just finished RuPaul Drag Race like All Star season 10, and Bosco is now she man to female trans person, and she did very well this season. I'm like, so when you say Bosco, I'm like, oh, I'm just thinking of this drag queen.
isn't Bosco a drinking chocolate because it was also George Costanza's like password for his bank card? There's a whole episode of Seinfeld devoted to it, with Kramer trying to guess his password, and Bosco is like a drinking chocolate, isn't it, Shane? You would know.
I
It's
think that was that made up for the show? Maybe, but I remember that episode.
yeah,
But I did just look up Bosco the in talking
right.
kid. I'm like, "Hmm,
Okay.
it was it could
You gonna
have
make
been
me jump?
it could have been worse.
Mm,
Actually, what was in my head was worse,
mm.
but it's still not great. So we're gonna leave it at that. The live action film The King of Jazz included an animated sequence about a safari hunt in darkest Africa. See, now this this is another one.
Let's open the
By
racist doors. Okay, let's go.
um about a safari hunt in darkest Africa by band leader Paul Whiteman.
Jesus
They
fuck.
they humorously explained how he became crowned as the king of jazz. Whiteman, the king of jazz. What's this, La
Mm.
La Land?
Yeah, I was
Um,
gonna say
This reads like a
it's
Monty
Ryan
Python
Gosling.
sketch.
Yeah.
it was created by Walter Lantz, the creator of Woody the Woodpecker. The cartoon was the first two-strip Technicolor animation ever produced with both sound and color, and featured a cameo by Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, the star of Universal Studios animated department led by Lance. So there's a lot to unpack here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um, the King of Jazz, A Hunt into the Darkest Africa by Whiteman. There you go. 1930s, what a wild time. But I
Mm-hmm.
bet that wasn't against the Hayes Code, because I
Oh
bet
no.
Oh no,
racism was not
racism would be
against
fine.
the Hayes Code.
Yeah.
Um, a prototype of squeaky and baby voice cartoon queen Betty Boop, voiced for most of the 30s by Mae Questel, was introduced in the Fleischer Brothers Bimbo call cartoon entitled Dizzy Dishes, with her appearing as a long-eared puppy dog. Was this
Okay.
really called Bimbo? And
I think
There was
you
no.
know, answer to your question is it's 1930s, so yes.
yes.
Yeah. After everything else you've said, yeah, it's very believable.
Mm-hmm.
See, we were going through a whole string of like this is film history, and then this is getting wild.
Yeah.
Getting wild here. But Betty
Culture
Boop,
history now.
obviously a very iconic character. Um,
Hmm.
pretty sexual of a character for like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that era as well. The
Hmm.
movie industry began to dub in the dialogue of films exported to foreign markets.
Mm.
So they didn't just were like deal with it. So now they actually
Hmm.
had like films released in other languages, which is progress. We appreciate that
Yeah.
progress after 5 straight notes of
I
not
was gonna
progress.
say after those notes, yes, that's a progress.
First daily newspaper for the Hollywood film industry, the Hollywood Reporter, made
Mm.
its debut. The Hollywood Reporter,
Wow.
95 years old. Looking good,
Wow.
Hollywood Reporter for
Yeah,
95 years
that's
old.
yep,
Some good roundtables came out recently. I was enjoying
absolutely.
the that actors one that had like Seth Rogen and Jason Segel and a
Yes,
few
that was
others.
really good.
That was a really
Hmm.
good one. British director Alfred Hitchcock's second all-talkie thriller, Murder, was the first film in which a character, Sir John Minier, played by Herbert Marshall, thoughts were heard in voiceover. The
Oh.
voiceover segment shot in front of a mirror had to be filmed with the recording of the lines and an orchestra hidden behind the set, as it was not possible to dub the soundtrack afterwards.
Oh, that's
That's
Wow.
fantastic.
That's his Alfred Hitchcock solving problems. That's what he was the best at.
And that's why, like he was one of the greatest. Like, like
Absolutely.
we often don't know about this stuff because many people
Mm.
focus on he was horrible to actors, actors and actresses. Yes, he was, but also he did a lot of this stuff. So it
Yeah.
something
All the
someplace in
greatest
between.
directors are the best problem solvers. Like the greatest
Mhm,
directors are all problem solvers. Spielberg with Jaws is another great
mhm,
example.
mhm.
So, a couple of shameless plugs here. So, if you do want to learn more about the making of Jaws, you could check out Jaws at 50, a new documentary that released at least here
Mm.
in the States on Hulu and Disney Plus.
Yes,
And if you
it
want
is
to
here
go on a
too.
60-week journey of Hitchcock, you could head over
Mm.
to Welcome to the Wasteland on my YouTube channel, which will begin at the very end of August or the very beginning of September. I had to shift
Nice.
the schedule around slightly because Honey Don't is coming out from Ethan Cohen, and that will be getting
Mm.
its own episode because if filmmakers I covered before have new films, I will release episodes. And the Coens were my first and still
Nice.
my favorite.
Mm.
But yes, I'll be
Yeah.
taking a deep dive, and these two will certainly be appearing on episodes.
Oh yeah.
Better
Key
believe it.
thing there is plural. Um, so French director Rene Clair's musical romance Under the Roofs of Paris. I'm not even gonna attempt the French spelling that was written right next to it.
Mhm.
Was an unexpected musical hit with the groundbreaking use of new technology of sound. It was the director's first sound film. So yeah, we're expanding out those musicals now that we actually have sound,
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
surprisingly. And we have two more notes here. Man of a Thousand Faces, American character actor Lon Chaney Sr., noted for his portrayal of grotesque and tortured characters, i.e., the frog in The Miracle Man, Quasimodo in The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Eric the Phantom in Phantom of the Opera, Alonzo the Armless in The Unknown, and Professor Echo in The Unholy Three, died at the age of 47 from bronchial lung cancer.
Oh wow.
Damn.
Wow. That's my age. That's a horrible thought.
Mhm. Mhm.
So pour one out for Lon Chaney Sr., one of the greatest
Mm.
character actors of early cinema. And
Mm-hmm.
we've all seen him.
Mhm.
Basically, like if you haven't seen like that original 1925, like what the Phantom looks like, I feel
Yeah.
like you're not paying attention to a lot of pop culture. But
Mhm.
he has obviously 100 years later still is in that place
Yeah.
in pop culture. And uh see, I actually want to get feedback from either of you. How do you pronounce Raoul? Raoul?
Raoul.
Yeah,
Raoul.
Raul.
Raoul?
Yeah, Raul. Yeah.
Yeah.
Raoul Walsh's Western, The Big Trail,
Mm.
marked the first film role for Marion Morrison, aka John Wayne. It was shot with
That's
a
right.
groundbreaking new film format known as Fox Grandeur, a 70
Mm.
millimeter
Ooh.
widescreen film process developed by the Fox Film Corporation. The film has been noted as the first to contain a swear word, the very tame damn, in live dialogue by Breck Coleman, played by Wayne. Zeke always told me women were damned funny. There you go.
Well,
You heard it
goddamn.
here first. Um, However, other talkies around the same time also used curse words, glorifying the American Girl, Gold Diggers of Broadway, Hell's Angels, swearing during aerial dogfights, the Dawn Patrol, and the Green Goddess. The closing line, she probably would have been a damned nuisance anyway. Lyle Talbot also said damn in Monogram Pictures' low budget Old House Mystery, The 13th Guest in 1932, one of the earliest uses of the word in major studio film. There you go.
Mhm.
Damn.
Wow. I don't understand how damn is considered a swear word anyway. That always kind of
It's a
shocked me.
religious connotation because, like, being
Damn you all
damned.
to hell.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird that it's a swear word. Anyway.
Our Australian co-host enters the chat. I'm like, what are you talking about? Curse words?
Swearing. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like what
Even in our
defines what's a
lifetime, if
swear
you
word anyway?
no, but even in our lifetime, if you think about it, we only have a couple of proper quote unquote swear words because now shit is mainstream. Used to be shit. Oh, you couldn't say that. Now in sitcoms, even in sitcoms like Abbott Elementary or stuff like that,
Yeah.
clean, they actually
Yeah.
say shit sometimes, not all
Right.
the time.
Called the shit poop.
Well,
Yeah,
the
poop.
president said the F word, dropped the F bomb in the
Oh
middle of a
yeah,
press conference before he got in a helicopter. I
he
mean,
don't say
now, I
Donald.
mean, the F word is
So he made it
extremely
cool.
mainstream now. So, no, he hasn't made it cool, but he's made it. If the president is swearing at a press conference, it's kind of made it a bit more allowable as
Yeah.
something that should be mainstream. You might see Stephen Colbert drop an F bomb on his last show next May because of that fucking prick who got him sacked.
Yep.
Fascists.
Donald made so many things acceptable, like grabbing them by the pussy and all that. He's always been ahead of that wrong curve.
Ahead of the curve,
he's
yeah,
been ahead of the curve, but
yeah.
the wrong
Yeah,
curve. Okay.
absolutely. Yeah. He zigs when everyone's zagging.
And that's why people love him, because he tells it like it
He
is
tells it as
when
it
he
is.
lies
Yeah.
Yeah,
99% of the time.
he would
The
know, but
fact
he
that he
only
gets
lies to
votes
the
from
left.
any female is beyond me that any female votes for him. It's staggers my
Well,
it's
you could talk to
staggering.
my mother about that. Um on to box office.
It's
So we have
a
our
good
top
segue.
10. Yes, we love segues here on the Cinematic Wasteland. Um, speaking of Donald Trump money, let's
Money.
go over to our top 10 box office films. At number 10, we have The Dawn Patrol, which made $1,061,000. We have number 9, Son of the Gods, which made $1,069,000.
Nice.
Nice.
The obligatory
Um,
nice.
Song "Oh My Heart" made 1.2 million. At number 7, Min and Bill made 1,223,000. Number 6, Common Clay made 1,246,000. The Big House at number 5, which we talked about, for a quote unquote small film, this did make number 5 at the box office, making $1,279,000. We have Hell's Angels, which made $1.6 million. All Quiet on the Western Front made $1.634 million. Number 2, Check and Double Check made 1,751,000. And number 1, Whoopee, which made $2,655,000.
Nice, nice.
Pretty close between like a 1 million
Yeah.
between 10th and first. I mean, 1930s money is a lot of money, but
But
probably
I was gonna
costs
say,
a nickel
it's
to
not
get in,
really
right?
close because, if you think about how, cinema ticket
Yeah,
was like 10 cents,
inflation.
Not even inflation, but like 10
Yeah,
50. So,
probably a nickel.
the 200,000 is still like a massive amount of people that had to see the other movie. So,
Absolutely, yeah.
in today's age, if you have a movie that earns 50 million and the other one 55, that's fairly close
Mm.
because the ticket for a cinema, now it's so fucking expensive that you're like, oh
Mm.
yeah, that's like only a couple of thousand people extra. But back then, that would have been like a massive crowds of people.
Yeah,
And
when you
if you
consider
were
the amount of
wondering,
theaters they had and how they had to
Mm-hmm.
maybe tour films around to get viewers,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah.
in 2025 money,
Mm-hmm.
Whoopi made $50 million.
Okay,
Niet bad,
okay.
niet bad. Huh?
So, can you imagine in 2025 the number 1 movie at the box office? Whoopi!
That's a catering. That's a catering budget for a lot of movies, 50 mil, probably.
Yeah, that's snacks.
Yeah.
That's the Robert Downey Jr. budget.
Not even.
Those
True.
Marvel movies.
That's only like half of his budget.
Oh,
He's
it
getting
used to be the
220
Robert
for
Downey
Doctor
Jr.
Doom.
budget, which is now too small to pay
Yes,
Robert Downey Jr. to come back and play Victor Von Doom. So,
but
but
he will save the MCU, Shane. Okay, he will save the MCU.
him and the Russos, of course.
Bet he does.
Do we have any thoughts on any of these box office numbers besides, that's a it in context, I think that's an important point, Luke, that you brought up. That yes, each of these tickets were like 10 cents. So like,
Yeah.
it's a lot of freaking tickets.
Like
That's a
on
lot
paper,
of bums on seats.
yeah, like on paper it looks pretty equal, but yeah, in reality, like it definitely there's a you can tell what public was craving for, and all quiet on the Western Front. I wonder if the money is because of the Oscars or before the Oscars, like how that worked. I wonder about that.
Yeah.
I don't
Would have
know
been interesting, the politics around the Oscars back then.
if it were indeed 10-cent tickets. That's I would have to check out how much tickets were, but
Mhm.
according to this, the difference is almost 9 million tickets.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just pulled
So
it,
I
by the
mean,
way. I just pulled that number out of my ass, so it could be totally wrong. Okay.
it seems right though. It seems close.
Hmm.
movie ticket prices 1930.
25 cents for a matinee, 40 for an evening show.
Okay. Okay. So
15 to 40 cents depending on time of day.
So
hmm.
even if we went high end, 40 cents a ticket, my
Yep.
God, how expensive. It was still 2.2 million
Yep.
extra tickets, whoopee,
Yeah.
sold. So
That's
yeah,
insane.
that's a lot. Those are
Hmm.
there's a lot of people going to the movies.
Yep.
A lot more than now,
And if you
sadly.
look at the connotations of the word whoopee back then, like that's basically sex, right? Making whoopee. So that's
Hmm.
probably why it got a budget, right? Or why it made a box office.
How
I'm
many
just gonna
Pre-Hayes Code.
how many horny people went to see the Whoopi? Like were disappointed with what they've gotten. Like how many people are like, I want my money back. Okay, I want my 15 cents back.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna make a gif of me flicking my eyebrows whenever we talk
Yep.
about something
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry.
sexual. And just like throw that up. The Academy Awards.
Mm.
So we have Outstanding Picture. The nominees were The Love Parade, The Divorcee, Disraeli, The Big House, and winner, All Quiet on the Western Front, which that
Hmm.
was telegraphed earlier in our notes. But yeah, so obviously this is a really big film, still an iconic film that has
Hmm.
stood the
Mhm.
test of time. So I think the Oscars got it right because I don't think most people know today. So
Yep.
if any of the other
Mm.
ones, to be frank. Um, Directing wise, directors nominated were King Vidor for Hallelujah, Ernst Lubitsch for The Love Parade, Robert Leonard for The Divorcee, Clarence Brown for Romance, Clarence Brown for Anna Christie, but winner Lewis Milestone for All Quiet on the Western Front.
Hmm.
So that was a pretty big winner, winning Best Director and Best Picture.
And if you've seen the movie, it definitely deserves it. Like, the movie actually, even by today's standard, is surprisingly well shot. Like, not
Yeah,
surprisingly,
it's
but it
really
is
good.
well shot,
Yeah,
well
Yeah, it's
edited,
great.
and there are some shots that stay with you.
Hmm.
absolutely. Writing wise, we have nominees Howard Estabrook for Street of Chance, Meehan for The Divorcee, Julian Josephson for Disraeli, George Abbott, Maxwell Anderson, Dell Andrews, all for On Quiet on the Western Front. But the winner was Francis Marion for The Big House. I have a sinking feeling if going back in time, probably All Quiet probably would have that one too. But
Mm-hmm.
acting wise, for Best Actor, we have Lawrence Hibbett, The Rogue Song, Ronald Coleman for both Condemned and Bulldog Drummond, Maurice Chevalier for The Big Pond and The Love Parade, Wallace Berry for The Big House, and winner George Arliss, who starred in The Green Goddess and won for Disraeli. So most of the nominees had multiple nominations
Yeah.
Yeah.
because there's like 10 actors in Hollywood
Mm.
starring in all these movies. And then Best Actress, we had Gloria Swanson from The Trespasser,
Mm.
Norma Shearer for Their Own Desire, Greta Garbo for both Romance and Anna Christie, Ruth Chatterton for Sarah and Son, Nancy Carroll for The Devil's Holiday, and winner Norma Shearer for The Divorcee. So, just to get both of your perspectives, how many of these movies have either of you seen?
Only All Quiet, really.
Yeah, same.
There you go. Well, we all know which one stood the test of time.
Sure.
It's All
Yes.
Quiet on the Western Front.
Yes.
Yeah.
To the point where they remade it and it made and won a bunch of Oscars. So
Well, they
Mhm.
there you
remade it a
go.
couple of times. There was also a 50s version of it, I think, as well. Yeah.
Yep.
And to wrap up our awards talk, we have our first official, the Cinematic Wasteland Award for Best Picture, where each of us pick our top film from this year. Adam had Up the River because he had two films that he rated both 2 stars. So this one won out by default.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
which we talked about on my channel, Welcome to the Wasteland, because this is a John Ford film from my 70 some my 80 weeks of John
80
Ford.
something.
I
Yeah.
am undercutting myself.
Mm.
80 weeks of John Ford, and this is about what is this about? It's about prisoners. They have a baseball team and it has Humphrey Bogart and Spencer Tracy in it.
Yeah.
So there we go. Um Luke, you have The Blue Angel, which we'll talk about in just a
Yep.
moment. And my number one is The Big Trail, that John Wayne starring Western, which it looks like it was made on this impressive like format. Cause I remember watching this, I'm like, wow, this looks really great for 1930
Mhm.
and really impressive in that way. But so no consensus here. We each gave a different film this award, but one of those we're going to talk about right now, which is The Blue Angel, which, of course, I forgot one tab on my phone, which was IMDb, to have that up, and I am buying time and clicked on the wrong one, and now it's up. So we
Oh, that's
have
awesome.
this film from director Joseph von Sternberg, starring Emil Jannings and Marlene Dietrich. So a couple of pretty big name actors of the time. Marlene
Mhm.
Dietrich, I feel like becoming a star,
Yes.
and
Mm.
Jannings is kind of like in prime tail end of career. We have an elderly professor's ordered life spins dangerously out of control when he falls for a nightclub singer.
Mhm.
Happens every day,
To the
right?
best of us.
So we're gonna go around the horn here, and we're gonna start with Adam. Adam, what are your general thoughts on the Blue Angel?
I've got a sneaking suspicion I'm lower on this than both of you. I know I'm lower on it than Luke. Um,
Because Letterbox.
because Letterboxd and you don't log older films. I look before I say what I think about the film, I am well, when I watch this film, I've learnt that Madeline Kahn's character in The Blazing Saddles was clearly based off Marlene Dietrich. I never
100%.
realized that as
Mhm.
many times as I've seen Blazing Saddles, watching her in this, the accent, even the even the song that Madeline Kahn sings in Blazing Saddles is a direct tune rip-off from her song in The Blue Angel. It was
Mm.
great. I love that. I love being on the inside of that and figuring that out. As for the movie itself, it did nothing for it. Just honestly, it did nothing for me. It was, I might have watched a bad version. I don't know, but I did watch the colorized version. I knew that was probably going to be a mistake when
Me
I clicked
too.
on it. You did as
I
well, yeah.
didn't.
I
I
didn't
watched that
mind the
one too.
colorized. Yeah, I mean it was fine, but I don't think that really detracted from my experience with it. I just a lot of it was in German and I didn't there was no subtitles for the German parts for me as well. So
Ah.
I there was a lot I kind of missed. There was also quite a few scenes where it's just the camera sitting still and not much is happening. There's just really not much happening, especially with him. I noticed particularly when he's in his, because he's a professor in his classroom, just a lot of images of him, extended images of him just sitting at his desk, kind of doing not much. And I'm like, well, do we need to linger on him for 15 seconds? It could have been two, like just little things like that. You know what I'm like with time, guys. Like I don't like and I'm not going to talk about editing because that's not how editing works. Me and Shane have already discussed that in something else. Um, but it's yeah, look, it felt draggy. I did feel the time with this one. Look, there was certainly parts I liked. A lot of the humor fell flat for me. A lot of it worked really well. Like it was quite funny in parts. But I just didn't vibe with it hard. Even enough for me to go, even appreciate it for the time it was made. Even that aspect of it I didn't get impressed by any of the filmmaking going on either.
Mm-hmm.
So before I let Luke say his piece, this is very interesting because there are certainly multiple versions of this movie.
Yep.
Because
Mm.
I watched the colorized version, but it was also in English.
There was English speaking in it, but a lot of German in mine. So was it all English for you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There
I
is an
didn't get
all
that.
English version. This is if you read the IMDb trivia, it was actually released as a both German and
Yeah.
English, but
Right.
if I'm remembering it correctly, the German one, a non-colorized one, has been lost for a bit. So we only had the
Right.
colorized one, if I'm remembering it
Interesting.
correctly. And I watched the black and white and German, and that's the
Right.
most complete version we have because I
Mm-hmm.
watched the version that's like 1 hour 47,
Yep.
and yeah, that's so I and but I think and even from that version, I think there are still some scenes missing. But this is, I think, what I watch is the most complete version that's out there and that we have available.
Okay.
Which this is an interesting case of we're still early on in
Yeah.
cinema where there is this
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting with the different kind of experiences we
I,
had.
I
Hmm.
am going to
Hmm.
use that as an excuse to maintain my cinephile card. I'm going to keep that. I watch the shitty
It
version.
has
I
not
don't
been
know why, but
revoked.
some of it was clearly was spoken in English, and they had subtitles for the English speaking. But when they spoke German, nothing. And I'm like, okay, look. So I mean, it was hard to.
Hmm.
I don't know that I missed. I mean, they still got the tone and inflection of what they're saying helps, but not knowing the words they're saying
Hmm.
doesn't help.
Hmm.
I don't know. It was
Yeah.
strange.
But Luke,
Hmm.
your thoughts?
So I'm on the opposite end. I wouldn't say I loved this movie, but I liked it. But I hear what Adam is saying. Because it took me a while to get into it. Because like it I was like, what is it supposed to be, right? Is it supposed to be like comedy? But I'm not laughing that much. Is it supposed to be romantic, like, rom-com?
Hmm.
About like this meet cute and like, this old like, strict Professor Falls, Forceful is like a showgirl. Okay, I get it, but it's not that romantic. And then the last third, the last act kind of hits you, and I'm like, oh, this is a sneaky
Yeah.
fucking tragedy. And I really love it when movies do that, and when it doesn't feel forced, and it feels like like it feels like when you think about it, as as that kind of evolved in a third act into this like tragedy about these two people just not being right for each other. And it's not even about her corrupting him. It's about both of them are just not right for each other, but they just fell for each other as it happened. And I feel like that kind of underlined it for me. Excuse me. And the last shot, without spoiling anything, I thought it was genuinely heartbreaking. I was like, damn, like this is fucking like this is proper heartbreaking. And for what I didn't thought I'm gonna feel, I kind of felt for this character and for both of them, especially for the professor. But yeah, so I really like, despite everything, I didn't think I'm gonna like it, but I do actually like it. What about you, Shane?
So, like I mentioned, so I've seen 9 films from 1930. This is my number 3,
Okay.
but that's not saying much.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a lot of those John Ford movies were not particularly strong that I watched, but
Mm-hmm.
like I really, really love The Big Trail and Animal Crackers, but like this film, there's inspired moments that I loved, and
Mm-hmm.
then there were stretches where I'm just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a
Hmm.
little bored. Uh, and it does take a little time to get going because like you're just plopped into this situation where he's a teacher of
Mm-hmm.
all these obnoxious kids, and it's just like teaching stuff. Like not like it wasn't even like particularly interesting classroom stuff, and you're just like, okay, we get it. He's a professor. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
then he gets like when you get to the club, and obviously this is on purpose because you have to set up that this man's life is so mundane and just uninteresting to have the juxtaposition for when he shows up to this club and is like, wow, this is something different. This is
Yep.
so much more lively. I think all of the moments with like Dietrich performing and in this club and stuff like that, it's electric. He's an
Mm-hmm.
electric presence.
Mm-hmm.
Which I had actually watched a Marlene Dietrich film about a month and a half ago, and when she's talking like this, I'm like,
Hmm.
wait a minute. Like,
Yeah.
I've been watching Blazing Saddles since I was a kid. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. So
Yeah.
like, and then watching this, I'm like, wow, this is literally just like Mel Brooks is like, Madeline,
Yeah.
just do this. And like those moments stand out. And they're meant to stand out. So like those really work. And I'll agree with you, Luke. That final shot, which I think is really inspired, is a heartbreaking shot.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if you're not the most engaged towards the beginning of the film, you see the spiral of this man's life. Like the
Yeah.
second half of this film, just like watching him get drug out there like a clown,
Mm-hmm.
performing, I'm just like I'm just like sitting there like, oh no.
And the bit
Yeah.
with the eggs and like cracking the eggs on top of his head, and he's supposed to like cock-a-doodle-doo, just do it. Oh, I'll kill you. Just do it. Cock-a-doodle-doo. And then he like breaks down on that stage.
That's like the secondhand embarrassment that I'm
Yep.
just like, I don't want to experience this right now. And like that hits. And I think this film has a lot of strong moments. I think Emil Jannings delivers a worthwhile performance in this
Mm-hmm.
film. Because if I'm not mistaken, let me just double check something because I want to. Yes, he was the actor from The Last Command, which he was great in that, and I really loved him in that performance. And he's also in Faust, which is a fantastic film from
Mm.
1926. So like this is a really talented actor, and I think you can see some of that coming through and shining through. And Dietrich's just electric of like
Yes.
just a presence in the film. I
Yeah.
didn't love the film. There's things that I really appreciated about it. And I think von Sternberg found moments that were inspired
Mm-hmm.
in terms of direction. Sometimes, like you pointed out, Adam, it's kind of just a little bit more flat and uninteresting. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the
Hmm.
hard thing. Like, was he doing that on purpose for those moments in the school? But there's a fine line between, well, it was on purpose. And here's an interesting comparison because one of my
Mm-hmm.
favorite comedies of all time is Office Space.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yep.
And that whole entire thing's supposed to be drab and really
Yeah.
uncomfortably boring and looking. My
Well,
brother
yeah.
hates that movie and cannot appreciate it because it does its job too well.
I
Okay.
feel like to
That's a
address
good
your
point.
Yeah, I feel like to address your point, Shane, I genuinely think it's supposed to be on purpose, right?
Yes.
But it's supposed to be on purpose for that era. Meaning, obviously now we have movies like Office Space or like many others that, would portray or would show you within 1 minute how mundane everything is. Because we've already, because they take notes from each other. But back in 1930, I'm guessing, I wasn't there, but I'm guessing the director was like, we need to make sure the audience understands this is like, goody two shoe, never had a woman professor, who goes to school, teaches the kids who don't appreciate him, goes home. That's it.
Yeah.
And we
Hmm.
need to make sure that we'll hammer that point home. So when he goes to the Blue Angel Club and sees this electrifying woman, it's easy to understand why Marlene Dietrich became such a superstar because she
Yeah.
is totally like electrifying, even in this role.
Hmm.
And I think that's definitely on purpose. Sure, would it be done today in a matter of minute with like a
Could have done it. He could have done it
montage?
quicker.
We could have done a montage, sad
Yeah.
montage.
Yeah.
Like, it'll
Even a
be,
bit
What
of
I'm
score
imagining,
underneath.
yeah.
or yeah, that too. What I'm imagining if this film was made today,
Hmm.
like it would be an interesting creative decision to have all of his
It's a
mundane stuff
Nora. Isn't that a
shot.
Nora?
Like, technically,
I
in a
Bad
guess,
a
way,
little
yeah.
bit. A little bit.
It's just, the sad mundane of her life is still
It's a
like
trust fund Russian instead of a professor, I
is
suppose. But
breasts out, strip clubbing. But like here, like it'd be interesting because it's like, what if it's shot in like an Eraserhead style, just like black and white, where it's just like this kind of style, and then the second he walks in this club, it's like Baz Luhrmann Moulin Rouge,
yeah, that'd be
and
great.
then it's just like,
That'd be
what?
amazing.
See,
Yeah.
what I imagined was
Sick.
like like a Edgar Wright kind of editing style, just to say.
Mhm.
But again, that's why I'm saying it's a montage, but it's a sad montage. Okay, it's like
Mhm.
quick cut of this, quick cut of this, and then like you see it like every single day. Sure, or kind of like
Yes.
all that jazz, like where he always starts his routine like in morning, shower, brushing his teeth, doing this,
Mm.
and then you see it as he devolves into that madness. And it's just, I think that's the same, except again, at for that era, the director probably felt like, I need to bore you with this so you appreciate the second bit that's coming next. I'm guessing. Don't
I
know.
just feel like,
That's a good take. Yeah, I like that.
yep.
It's not
And in 2025, that boring works too well for audiences because they're
yeah.
not ready for they're not
It's
prepared
too
for
Yeah.
that.
meta. It's
Well,
yeah.
because it's too easy to pick up a phone and not be as bored,
Correct.
right? Yeah.
Yes, it is very easy to be distracted in that.
Yes.
It's
Couldn't do that for your 25 cents in 1930 at the cinema, right?
no. Let me take they're just like, let me take out my newspaper.
Yeah, they're sitting there
reading in
reading
the
the
theater.
Wall Street Journal.
I think that, what's interesting, because I do feel like this has like that timeless kind of narrative
Yes.
concept where it's
Mhm.
just like somebody, like there's a lot of people who it's like, I don't really appreciate my mundane day to day, and then I find somebody who livens it up, and
Mhm.
then not realizing that maybe this isn't good for my life. And
Mm.
here it, like, this obviously takes it to an extreme and it spirals, and unfortunately he dies, a
Yeah.
very sad
Mm.
broken man. And it's just like, damn,
Sad
movie.
clown.
But it's
Yeah.
not
Mm.
even. I was gonna. So to your point, Shane, I'm not even sure if it's like good. Like when he said it's healthy for his life or something. Like in a moderation, he should definitely go out more, right? In a moderation,
Correct.
he should definitely be like, hey, you should live your life, not breeze through it, right?
Mm.
But you should also think ahead and say, yes, this dancer is funny, it's sexy. She's Marlon Dietrich, obviously.
Mhm.
No complaints there. Should you marry her in like a second week of meeting her? Probably not, because that's not gonna work out
Well,
for either of you.
this screams, wow, I remember my first beer.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first time this guy ever goes
Yeah.
out and then goes
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Well, they do have
I think,
sex, right? They have sex. That's how come he becomes infatuated, right? Yeah.
I think
I'm
so.
pretty sure they
They
sleep
say
together.
it
They
does say it in the
definitely sleep
Wikipedia
together.
plot. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
said, this movie definitely did not adhere to the Hays Code. It's just
No.
like,
But neither did
they,
Anora, and it won an Oscar. Okay.
Yeah.
see, let's go back to, let's play ban this movie. Would Honora pass the Hays Code? Absolutely not. Within
No.
like 2 seconds,
Yes.
Hayes would have been like, no, stop the picture. So I think this film is very interesting and would have because like there's probably unofficial adaptations of this, because there's definitely things that have
There's definitely
drawn
remakes. There's quite a few
upon
remakes.
this idea. I think this movie would have a lot of potential.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see Natasha Lyonne
Oh.
as
Oh,
this club
what?
performer, because I just feel like, how Marlene Dietrich just has this very specific personality and voice. Like I just want
Mm.
to have like Charlie from Poker Face being like this performer and like shaking up this like sad boring guy's life. Who'd sad boring guy be?
Oh, Will Ferrell.
Paul Walter Hauser. I'd like Paul Walter Hauser would be
No,
great.
you need to go old. You need to go old, I
So
think
I
older.
like Paul Walter
He could hold
Hauser.
him
He
up.
is a
They could
little
hold him up.
young for
Yes.
this, but
Oh, they could age him. He'd be easy to
I mean,
age.
yeah. But
he
Will
actually
Ferrell,
matches the vibe of Emil Jannings like a lot.
Will
To
Ferrell
be
would be good.
perfectly
That's a
honest,
good choice, especially
the
because
for
Will
yeah.
Ferrell one, honestly, I would watch that too.
That's his Oscar-winning role.
Oh, you know what?
His Oscar-winning role.
I'm gonna pull an Adam McKay and ruin my friendship with Will Ferrell by picking John C. Reilly over him. Because John C. Reilly should
John
be
would be yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, see, I like Adam McKay, like John C. Reilly better than Will Ferrell.
John's a better actor.
He is a better actor, and that's why Adam McKay cast him in winning winning season, or
the basketball movie
that
show.
basketball show that broke up their friendship between Adam McKay and Will Ferrell.
Yeah, that's sad. That is sad
it is sad. I do feel like this film has a lot of great moments. There's things that really work about it. There's also some things that don't work so well about it. And I think where your line is for that is going to determine where you fall on this. And I wouldn't be surprised if this film doesn't connect with a lot of people in 2025.
Yes.
But as like, you know, as somebody that does a lot of quote unquote homework watching for movies, like watching this from like a cinematic standpoint, there's some really interesting things going on here. And I'm not surprised that Joseph von Sternberg became a name in terms of filmmaking. And honestly, you had a rising star of film and a big time veteran of early cinema anchoring this film down. And, you know, there's things that are going to stick around about this for me. And I overall thought this was a really interesting film to watch.
I would definitely recommend anybody who is interested in watching this movie. It's on YouTube. You need to search for it a bit harder, I guess. But it is like 1 hour 47. It's a black and white and all German with subtitles. Everything is subtitled. So that version I really connected with. I don't know about the colorized version or the other ones.
Do you know why I would have chosen
the?
I chose the colorized version because it's 7 minutes shorter than the black and white. I'm like, yeah,
I was gonna say,
waste that 7 minutes? This is how I roll, right?
I feel like the colorized English version that I did watch, I think got you there.
Okay.
I feel like I think it worked. And it was interesting because I 100% did not expect this film from Joseph von Sternberg starring Emil Jannings to be speaking English. And I'm like, oh, so I'm going to have a way different experience than I thought I was going to have watching this movie. Because, you know, you have to like, and I'll say older films with subtitles, you got to like make sure you're honed in and ready to go. Because this is a whole different kind of experience. So honestly, that was kind of a relief for me when they start speaking in English. And I don't know why, because like there was multiple of them right next to each other. I don't know why I picked the colorized version, to be honest. Like, I thought the colorizing did detract from it, but I don't think it particularly added anything to it. I just felt like that was like a cool hip thing to do at the time. So
there was when they found the coloring technology, there was a lot of films that that they just colorized because they could and they had the license to.
It's like my new toy. They're just playing around with it.
Also, what I would like to point out, the Blue Angel Club, amazing soundproofing. Like every time they would be in their like dressing room and somebody would open a door, I would immediately hear everything that's happening. And the moment they would shut down the door, silence. I'm like, damn, that room has, and it happens so often. I'm like, damn, that room has amazing soundproofing. 10 out of 10.
The recording studio,
Yeah.
I know what they're doing, setting that stuff up. But do either of you have any other thoughts on the Blue Angel?
I do not.
Movie good.
Do you agree, Adam?
No, I do not. I don't. I don't think it's bad. I just didn't vibe. I just didn't gel with it.
And again, that's fine. Just like it doesn't click with you, it clicks with you. That's it's an art.
I don't think there's been many episodes where we all have landed in the same spot on any of these movies. And that's what makes the show interesting, along with all of that special commentary that you will get nowhere else on the internet, on podcasts, as we go through cinematic history and provide our own unhinged commentary. So you all are welcome, and I hope you enjoy. every month when you come back around here and listen to the three of us talk about film history. But Adam and Luke, thank you both so much as always for coming on and talking movies with me.
Anytime, Shane.
Pleasure as
Thank you.
always.
And next month, it's how time works. We went from 1930 to 1931. So we will be focusing on 1931, and we'll be talking about The Public Enemy, starring James Cagney and Jean Harlow. So that's a pretty cool film we'll be checking out. And according to IMDb, it's an hour and 23 minutes. So
perfect.
Nice.
I was gonna say Adam just
the
had
Ryan Johnson School of Film Length. Perfect.
But thank all of you for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. Have you seen any of the films that we talked about from 1930? And if so, it was probably all Quiet on the Western Front, because that's pretty much the most famous film from 1930. And make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. The SPM Crew Podcasting Network is ever expanding. We have so many shows covering all different kinds of interests. There's sure to be something for you. Or you could be like me and try your best to support everybody and listen to all of these shows, all on double speed, because that's how I do. If you're interested in joining the crew, you can reach out to us on our website if you want to be a guest on one of these shows. And we've never considered adding a fourth on for a special episode or not. I like our vibe, but if you drive a hard enough bargain, if you're Steve Buscemi, would be happy to have you come on.
Or like Martin Scorsese, Martin's cinema himself, Scorsese. Like, oh yeah,
it would simply.
It will do.
Do you know who would be great? And no jokes, Tarantino would be amazing to have on this show. I'm saying it like it's a possibility, but how cool would it be?
Hey, if we keep putting this into the universe, maybe the universe will be nice to us.
Maybe.
Or if you want to start your own podcast, there's always space for that too. And if you like our logo, it's from my buddy Joe, and he does great work. And you should check out his Etsy store. He has a lot of fun stuff going on there. Soon to be Uncle Joe. Just throwing that out in the universe. He even grew in a mustache. And most importantly, thank you all for tuning in and supporting the Cinematic Wasteland here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.